Is that voice in your head trying to help you or just trying to scare you? It's a question we don't ask often enough, especially when that voice sounds like our own, but heavier, more anxious, and a lot more critical. Sometimes it tells us to play small, to be careful, to stay safe. And sometimes that voice is just an old story, replaying like a scratched up DVD from our childhood. In today's episode, we're gently peeling back the layers of fear, doubt, and inner noise to discover what's really underneath. We'll explore how to tell the difference between intuition and the inner critic, how anxiety masks itself as protection, and how you can tune into your truest, most authentic frequency, because the inner voice that's really you is full of wisdom, not worry. So take a deep breath, get comfortable, and let's begin. You're listening to the Opulence Mindset Podcast. This is for those on the road less traveled, doing the inner work, embracing the process, and striving to live life to the fullest. I'm Chanel, your gratitude coach and loyal teammate, as we grow, heal, and evolve together. Thank you for sharing valuable time with me. And remember to wear opulence, think love. Welcome back to the Opulence Mindset Podcast, a space where we unlock our unlimited potential, align with our most authentic selves, and vibrate daily in abundant gratitude. I'm Chanel, your gratitude coach, here to share my healing journey and the tools that have helped me awaken to the power of appreciation. If this is your first time tuning in, I am so glad you're here. And if you've been walking this journey with me from the beginning, thank you for continuing to show up for yourself. You're not alone. We've talked a lot in this series about fear, scarcity thinking, and the mindset patterns that keep us small. In part 1, we recognized those fear-based behavior patterns. In part 2, we talked about releasing blame and reclaiming our power. And in part 3, we're deep diving into the terrain of anxiety. What is it? How it shows up? And most importantly, how to work with it instead of feeling overwhelmed by it. Let's begin by acknowledging something that rarely gets said out loud. Feeling anxiety is human. I'll say it again. Feeling anxiety is human, and it's not something to be ashamed of. It's not a flaw. It's not a failure. Getting over fear begins with understanding that anxiety isn't something to get rid of. It's often a signal, a message from within, inviting us to pay attention. Dr. Alexandra Solomon explains that anxiety is the intersection between uncertainty and fear. But she also reminds us that anxiety can be separated into primary and secondary emotions. Primary emotions like fear or sadness are natural reactions to life. But secondary emotions like shame and envy are layered through thought. They're more cognitive, which means we can do something about them. So instead of asking, how do I get rid of this anxiety? Take a deep centering breath and ask, what is this anxiety trying to show me? When I started to look at my anxiety this way, it wasn't something I needed to fight or control anymore. It was something I could learn from and even question its validity. Now let's dive into a kind of anxiety that quietly creeps into so many of our lives. Imposter syndrome. You know that voice, that inner critic that says, who do you think you are to do this? Or if they really knew you, they wouldn't respect you. It shows up when we're stretching ourselves into a new role, in new relationships, or new levels of visibility. Almost every time I sit down to work on this podcast, I feel that cynical voice waiting at the door, whispering, I'm the one that needs the healing. Who am I to be a mindset mentor? Not long ago, I didn't even know that that was a thing. But then when I breathe in stillness and get centered, I set my intention to channel the secure love of our divine source and ask, what would you have me say? There's another voice, deeper, wiser, stronger, rooted in my heart and soul, granting me the safety to remember, the safety to speak my truth, and the safety to lead with love. It reminds me that I am simply the vessel, that by sharing my story, I'm not claiming perfection. This moment, this choice to rise again, could be the one that changes everything. Dr. Solomon reminds us that imposter syndrome isn't always a sign we're inadequate. Sometimes it's just a sign we're growing. You're new here. Of course it feels uncomfortable. This discomfort doesn't mean you're wrong for being in the room. It means you're expanding. You're stepping into something new, and your nervous system is just catching up. The inner saboteur is insatiable. It always wants more validation, more control, more applause. But that voice isn't your truth. Your truth is deeper. It's your frequency. And when you connect to that frequency through stillness, meditation, and breath, you reconnect to who you really are. That's how we begin to rise above fear. Overcoming fear and scarcity thinking requires honest self-reflection. But let's be clear, there's a key difference between reflecting and ruminating. Rumination is like mental quicksand. You go over and over a thought until it buries you. Reflection, on the other hand, is expansive. It asks, what really happened? Why did it happen? And what can I learn from it to move forward? I've been there. I've stayed up at night, replaying conversations, wondering, what should I have said differently? Did I mess it all up? What I didn't realize at the time is that rumination is often rooted in fear. The fear that if I don't mentally solve the problem, I could be blindsided again. But here's the truth. No amount of overthinking can guarantee safety. And when I remembered that the answer is always love, I started to breathe easier. Reflection brings us back to our power. It says, I don't need to be perfect. I just need to be present. Dr. Solomon also says, rumination is driven by shame. Reflection is driven by curiosity. To quote RuPaul, we're all born naked and the rest is drag. We are not here to be perfect. We are here to be perfectly ourselves. My wise friend Jay once reminded me that we're all performing in some way. Every single day, we choose the role we want to step into. Some days I'm sporty spice, and some days I'm scary. But what happens when your authentic self means disappointing the people who raised you, the ones who love you and think they know what's best for you? I've changed so much over the years in what I believe, how I speak, how I dress, how I spend my time. And for a long time, I was afraid that people wouldn't like the real me. And at the same time, I honestly didn't know who the real me was. But as Mama Ru reminds us, you don't have to try to make people like you. Just like yourself. And the right people will gravitate towards your energy. Authenticity isn't just a vibe. It's how we reclaim our energy from all the places we have outsourced it. And you'll know when you're finally aligning. It feels like coming home to yourself. All those choices you made in desperation to hold everything together, they begin to fit like a beautiful puzzle piece, falling into place with a kind of divine timing you couldn't have planned if you tried. So as we gently close this cherished space, I want to remind you that fear is a man-made devil. You are safe. You are supported. Even when life feels uncertain, you are not walking through it alone. Love is holding you, guiding you. You don't have to have it all figured out. Just keep showing up. Just keep listening inward. And keep trusting the path unfolding beneath your feet. The more you choose peace over panic and presence over pressure, the more you'll feel it. That quiet, steady truth. Your authenticity is your power. Let that be your peace. Your presence and input are sacred to me. Thank you for holding space for us to share this level of vulnerability. The fact that you're here means you're already stepping into your own knowing and that we are aligned in a collective evolution. Through this platform, no matter where you are right now, no matter what timeline you're in, it's like I'm sitting right next to you, saying, hey, you're not alone. You are loved, and I'm here to help. Trust that the Opulence Mindset perspective shift is supporting your personal growth and well-being. To all the listeners who follow along on this journey, thank you. I cannot do this without you. The divine love in me recognizes the divine love in you. May the eternal light of this shared experience journey to the great beyond in perpetuity. Until next time, wear opulence, think love, and so it is. Amen.